Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Daybreak Extra. Let's start by taking a look at the weekend trust this Saturday, where the major story is about tapping to cash out, how young and old got hooked. The writers are talking about why some apps paid, others disappointed. It is permissible in Islam, but now there's a but to that. That's according to Professor Yelwa. Not a sustainable source of income. Indeed, I mean, you don't need anyone to tell you that, the tapping thing is not a sustainable source of income. Now, for me, when it all started, I remember our reporter, Dr. Yakubu, made a report on that, and there was talk with experts on that situation where the expert warned about how you give out your information, your data. Now, as you're signing up for all of this, they tell you follow us on Instagram, follow us on other, social media handles. While you're doing that, do not forget every social media handle has your own data at that. But then when it comes to now signing, also how you get paid, there is the e-wallet that you put, and according to that expert, he said if at all you decide to log into that e-wallet in future, maybe not now, in future, when you blow up and then you have money and you start making transaction on that e-wallet, you start getting, you start literally getting your money moved out of it. Like someone steals your money out because someone has patiently waited with that data of yours that he has for the longest time. So there was that. But then we all know how, because of how difficult it has been, people want, I will not call it easy money, because people dedicate long time doing that. But then it's more of like you're not doing really anything much. So people want easy money to come by, and people were so engrossed in it. While some people got lucky to get really paid in other of the apps, others really were disappointed. And there was a lot of memes going on social media, really funny, got me cracking up. But my heart breaks for how long people put in. We saw our youth putting in so much effort into doing all of this. You now realize that instead of that time that you were using to tap your phone, if you had thought of something else, something more productive, that could have actually worked for you, that would have favored you. So while you're looking for something that is not sustainable, something that you don't even know the future of it, you've missed out on ways that you could have thoughts of, creating more source of income for yourself. Because if there is one thing you'd agree with me, is that Nigerians are pretty smart people, and these people could easily sit down and think of thousands of ways to, earn money. But then you're wasting all your energy and all of that. I remember talking to one of my friends, and he said his fingers ache from, too much tapping and all of that. But it breaks my heart that Nigerians had to learn the hard way when it comes to this. While, of course, we know some people will still not listen, but while you're doing this, make sure you're doing something fruitful, with your life on that one. But if you want more details on all of this, you can check out the Weekend Trust this Saturday. Now, below the pictorial there of course, the exchange rates and the tapping, we see Rivers, Benue, Akwa Ibom, Jigawa hold local government posts today. Now, earlier I talked about Rivers because of how controversial it has been, the drama saga going on there. But then there is Benue, Akwa Ibom, and Jigawa holding the posts today. So all eyes would be on them, and Trust TV would definitely keep you up to speed with the findings. So make sure you stay glued to your TV. Away from that, to our celebration of the teachers, it says World Teachers Day. 4 years after promises, Nigerian teachers yet to get improved salary and welfare. Now, I spoke about this earlier, about how teachers, even in the FCT, went on strike because the money that was supposed to, that was during the President Muhammadu Buhari, the former President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure, where there was an approval of it increasing the minimum wage, and there's a lot of arrears, there's a lot of things that these people did not benefit from. Now, the most touching and annoying thing about all of this is that teachers that work with UBEB, I think, or UBEC, they get paid that. And then teachers that are not, maybe basically with the local government and all of that, these people don't get paid. And these are teachers that have been in this part for past 30 years doing the same thing. And then the younger teachers who just joined, but then were lucky to get through the UBEB and the UBEC, they get a free pass. And literally, you'll be working in the same school with your colleague, but then your colleague is paid every approval, every new promise, every money being allocated to teachers, but then you don't get it. That is how unfair our system is. And as much as we're trying to act as though we don't know, I believe that the local state government and also the federal government are aware of this, but nothing seemed to be done about it. And things like this honestly get me really irritated. But then definitely we're going to keep on pursuing that and make sure that we act right by these teachers, because if there is one profession that gives its most, it's teachers. Whether we like it or not, they pay almost they contribute 50% of upbringing of children, in our society, and we just have to give them that much recognition that they deserve. Now, away from that, below the headmaster of the Weekend Trust, we see Senator Barrow receives hundreds of NNPP members, says era of red cap over in Kano soon. Now, if we know what era of red cap means, it's for the NNPP following Kwankwaso's reign. We know that that's his dressing, wearing white and red cap, and NNPP is known for having that thought. Followers of the Kwankwaso, rather Rabiu Kwankwaso's reign. But then now that they're saying era of its end, I'm confused about that. We still have some dramas happening in Kano that have not really been solved yet. We still have two emirs, Ado Bayero and Aminu Ado Bayero and Sanusi Lamido still on that. So having another political crisis in Kano will not really be advisable. Away from that, on health matters, they said despite health risks, laws, more Nigerians switch to charcoal and firewood. We all know that apart from you inhaling a lot of smoke that could be hazardous to your health, it also does not help with our climate change. We need more trees, but then we have to conquer these trees and use them to create charcoal, and that is something that is really scary. We already are seeing the impact of that, causing erosion here and there because there are no trees to hold on to some of this sand on that. But then yes, you need to get more details on all of this. You find that on page 10. Beside that, we see Senator Buba criticizes Governor Bala's banditry allegations. You find that on page 4. There's been a lot of allegations attached to a lot of politicians, but I would just keep poking and checking until we hold the people accountable for what they did, because if there is anything that speaks treason and treasonable felony and all of that, it should be you sabotaging, killing your own people for your own gain. We hope this finances the real finances at all, because this is still an allegation, but we hope the financiers of all of this banditry and terrorists get what they deserve, which would be a huge punishment. Now let's move on from the Weekend Trust to the Nation newspaper this morning, where at the top of the page there we see federal government exempts 63 items from VAT in major fiscal reform. That you'd find on page 3. A lot of VAT has been, different kind of taxes has been increased for Nigerians, and we are just asking the federal government to make the economy friendly for Nigerians, where we will not bother, we will gladly, pay taxes so that our country can grow. Beside there, we see how soldiers killed my husband, donated body to Varsity Lab. That's according to Widow. A really sad situation there. Details of that is on page 11. Niger boat tragedy, that's what happened in Niger State. Day free ride to Maulud celebration turned fatal. 6 more bodies recovered. Death toll hits 42. A really sad situation happening there in Niger State with the rain, River Niger and River Benue. It's not a fun place to be around at, and our hearts goes to the family of those who lost their lives in this accident. Major story here is talking about the Rivers local government poll, where tension as Fubara and the police flex muscles. Now we saw the governor of River State come out to address, saying that the police went just to according to him anyways, alleged that the police circulated where the state, the Independent Electoral Commission were, and for him, he feels like it was like an intimidation move from the police. But then IGP police want to scuttle election, that's according to Fubara, the state governor. Force wants governor over weighty allegations against the IGP. Now there is a rebuttal, and the police force are saying you need to be careful about this allegation. Insist NPF's actions in conformity with court order. Now they're saying that court ordered them to do that. Also, there is the national PDP backs Fubara and state wings differs. Now we saw how the PDP in River State, PDP members came out on Thursday to protest, saying that something is wrong. That is even before the election, which is happening today, saying that there seemed to be a bit of shady move. That's the allegation they're throwing, and the governor came out to back that up, but then police is saying no, it is a court order. But the most important thing is that we hope that our police force are not allowing themselves to be used for political gain, and we hope that the governor of that state puts his people first, because at the end of the day, your people come first. You cannot rule an empty state. So please, let's push our sentiment and self-centeredness aside and think of the growth of River State, other states, and Nigeria as a whole. Now, these are the stories that you'd find on The Nation this morning. Moving on to the Vanguard newspaper. At the top of the page, we see Customs, Police, NCC, SALW reacts and fears spread about millions of seized arms illegal imported into the country. I fear for that. I mean, it's not just police and custom. I fear for that. We tend to see these reports every day of no matter how much we still have custom by the border, we have, police, even other security agents by the border, we still have a mass load of, millions of illegal imported firearms were being brought into the country, and it scares us the most because we already have tons of insecurity matters to battle with, and then if more arms come, which we know it's illegal, definitely it would be used for illegal terrorism and banditry and all of that. So we hope with the knowledge and the fear that we have, it would push us to do more, push our security agencies to do more in combating this. Away from that is a sad story of mysterious disappearance of policeman after in-laws burial. A really sad one there. You find that story on page 15. I was wrong on tithe payment. Adeboye apologizes. That you find on page 6. Major story is still on River State, where local government polls Wike Fubara in fight to finish. Fubara accuses IGP of bias, insists on today's election. National PDP backs poll. Rivers chapter disagrees. Governor Eno Akpabio brag in Akwa Ibom. Below that, you'd see Tinubu succumbs, confers GCON on reps. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. yeah, there's been a controversy on that one, where we saw how the president said there was going to be a national honor given to some of these politicians, which starts with the Senate president, his deputy speaker, and also his deputy. And Nigerians, were asking, or some Nigerians were asking, what have they done for Nigeria to deserve that national honor? Beside that, we see Nelly. Now, there's a feature on one Nelly there, so you can find out on page 20. Below that, we see, with the benefits of hindsight, independence only benefited our leaders. The masses would have had a better deal under our colonial masters. That's according to Dr. Ugoji Egbucho. Now, if there is one thing Trust TV brought to you, was reminder of some of the things that our leaders, past leaders have brought to the table, both during the military rule to the civilian rule. And we just hope, when we say our national anthem, saying we want to move forward, but then we want to carry on the heroes past, what our heroes did, the sacrifices they make, and push forward when making decisions for the growth of Nigeria. We hope that this administration, take that part, or continue on it if at all they're taking that. But then, yes, these are the stories that you would find on the Guardian, the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Now, moving on to the Guardian, major story is end TB by 2030, where with uncoordinated strategies, mission unaccomplished is imminent. Now, this is about the fight, against TB, that's tuberculosis. There is also a pictorial of diabetes patient running, but then sugar is following them, saying there's about 20% SSB tax. I think that's what that pictorial is saying. But then, yes, health is wealth. We have to just make sure we take care of our health, check ourselves. As much as we know how sugary almost everything is these days, we have to make sure we find solution, find better alternative. We know that if you still have sweet tooth, then you can go for brown sugar instead, and that could help. But if there is one thing I've learned about sugary things, is that if you decide, not sugary things, life, if you decide to take a different path on things, the first month is the first week is the difficult part. After that, automatically you start adjusting. There is no lifestyle that is difficult for human beings to adapt to. God made us adaptable. So if at all you know that sugar is bad for your health, especially if you're diabetic, then please do stay away from that. And I promise you'd be fine. First week to first month will be the most difficult, but then afterwards, anytime you mistakenly even put a sugar, you start feeling, you get nauseated, and that's how it is. Now, away from that major story, we see Southwest politicians lip service to development. Now, this is not the first time I'm seeing this caption. Now, people in the Southwest are, pushing, saying, I think, no, the last time was Southeast, saying that politicians are more lip service, just saying things but not showing it in action. And if there is one thing that Nigerians would agree, is that we're seeing most of our politicians do that, lip service, not really pushing forward with the promises that you made to people. And it keeps breaking our hearts that we keep losing people that should be patriotic to people who are more self-centered. But then, yes, would have to continue deep diving and pulling out the underdeveloped areas in Nigeria that needs more attention, and it's not really getting that. And we keep pushing until the right thing is done, because our country has the potential to be great. Now, away from that, at the top of the Guardian newspaper, we see daring hackers on the prowl amid strict anti-cybercrime measures. Now, there's a picture of the EFCC chair, Olukoyede, talking about that, and we hope there is more, anti-cybercrime measures. Away from that, we see tackling fuel supply crisis, lessons from NLNG template. I do not even I don't even have a lot to say on that one, or I have a lot. It's like a two-way thing. It is really annoying what is happening in our petroleum or in our petroleum and gas sector. We still are not clear on what is happening. We still are not clear. I just have to remind Mr. President that he promised transparency in his governance, and Nigerians are asking questions. We were able to talk with different stakeholders in this sector, and nobody seemed to have the correct answer. Dangote is giving us some sloppy answers, saying, you know, that we know there are some that he cannot say out. Why is that? Why can you not say out? This is not a matter of security. It's only security that we can say our security agents have the right to hide some strategies, you know, in order to not leak out that strategy to bandits and terrorists. But when it comes to fuel matters, when it comes to economic matters, we're supposed to know. So why is someone not telling us anything? We asked marketers. Marketers said they are still not really clear on what is going on. So far, we waited until October 1st, where the federal government said there's going to be Naira crude to Naira petrol on Dangote, and we are yet to see that. There's this word or sentence that Dangote said. He said, I sold to the NNPCL lower than what they used to import. Now, if we're talking about importation, of course, we know dollar rate is quite high. But then now he's selling in Nigeria, and he's saying that no matter what, they had a lot sum to save. And that has not been clarified, because instead of it to reduce from 617 Naira, it has moved to 897 Naira. So there's a lot of controversy still there, and we're still asking, why hiding that? What is wrong? Why are you not telling us what is going on in our own country? Well, these are the most that we can take, but we'll keep pushing. Right, this is what we can take on the Guardian newspaper. We'll keep pushing until we get the right answers to this. Now, let's quickly take a look at the Tribune. That's Nigerian Tribune this morning, where the top of the page is saying federal government approves concurrent running of degree NCE for colleges of education. You'll find that on page 24 if you want to get details on that. Can Southwest Honors Obasanjo Abiodun inaugurates new officers. Awolowo Dosumo celebrates Bishop Akinsanya. Now you find that on page 15. Rivers of war. Now that's what's happening in River State. Fubara draws battle line with IGP over local government polls. Traditional rulers ask Tinubu to call police to order. PDP asks Rivers to resist intimidation. Vote en masse. We'll just have to wait and see the outcome of today's election. You'll find that on page 3. Below there, you see, of course, pictorial of the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, the IGP of police, Kayode Egbetokun, and the former governor of River State and the current minister of the FCT. Here's some Wike. Below the pictures of this, we see any politician that is not corrupt in Nigeria is lucky. That's according to Senator Ndume. If there is one thing we know for the senator from Bauchi State, is that he says it as it is. And honestly, we need more people like that to call out. But it breaks our heart. It breaks our hearts that the same people that would come out to promise us to not be corrupt, to fight corruption, are the ones that even people amongst them are saying are the corrupt leaders. Hence the reason why the president says corruption is fighting back. But yeah, it seems our country is swallowed up in that. But then we are not giving up. We, the youth, would keep pushing, and hopefully we get to fight and take our country away from corruption's hands and hold. Below that, we see Amotekun arrest family of 7 for burglary, theft of food items. You find that on page 5. Bandits invade mosques in Katsina, disrupt Juma'at service. That is on page 5 as well. Now, talking about insecurity in Nigeria, as much as we keep saying there's a lot being done, there's still a lot of stories that honestly we don't even get to cover on insecurity, attacks and banditry, happening in Nigeria on a daily basis. And it just goes to show us that we are not there yet. And until we are able to wipe off every matter of insecurity in our country, every scenario, every situation, then our security agencies, state, local governments, and even the federal governments cannot brag about fighting insecurity. We want to see results rather than just the topic or putting it out there and saying we have done this. We want to see better results in action. Now, away from that, we see federal government starts evacuation of Nigerians from Lebanon. We've seen how drama, another really looking like war, is unfolding, in this in the parts of the world, and in that part of the world, and it breaks our heart that it's getting there. We need sanity and peace in this world. But then yes, it's great that our federal governments are doing that. That is what every other country would do for their people living outside their country, because we know that these people remit money back to our country one way or another. Now, these are the stories that you'd find on Nigerian Tribune. Let's move on to this day newspaper. Top of the page there, we see prolonged monetary tightening may discourage investment, slow down growth, ruin once. Says high borrowing costs hurting private sector. A lot it's been said, but if there's one thing we have to give Nigerians kudos for, is that when it comes to economic policies, economic experts, we have a lot of them. We have people that are knowledgeable. So if at all we want to move forward, we know whom to reach out to, gather these people, stakeholders, have them sit down and find better solution for our country. Below that, we see Barau Dogwa tackle Kwankwaso declares NNPP has pauperized Kano people. Call me. I don't know what's happening, but it just seemed to be a political fight here and there. And one thing I'm just going to tell our leaders is that we don't care about what you people are doing right now. What we care about is you people paying attention to human beings, paying attention to what people are going through, rather than parties and pushing. There's drama happening between, of course, with something that looks like the ruling party and the PDP, and there's another happening between the ruling party and the NNPP in Kano State. We are watching, and we'll just have to wait and see how all of that unfolds. Beside there, ahead of the NEC meeting, governors Atiku, Wike jostle for control of the PDP. There's also internal crisis going on there. Nigerians are wise, and the only thing we can say is that until Nigerians get what they deserve, they will not vote for you. I feel like Nigerians are smarter now, based on what is unfolding, and they will make the wise choice come 2027, and also based on all of this local government elections that we're having. Now, the major story here is on the tension on River State, as Fubara insists on local government polls. Pro-governors group occupy the RCEC. Now, police withdraw from election, cites court's judgment. NBA condemns move. IGP, we will not allow Fubara burn down the state. PDP backs polls. APP disowns a factional group. Rivers elders express divergent views. Now, these are the stories that we have for you. Yes, I believe that if we have, perhaps we would be able to reach out to someone to give us an update on the local government election. We would definitely want to bring that to you. So make sure, basically, that you stick with us all through this show, and even all through the day. Trust TV will definitely bring you up to speed. But in the course of it, we'll try to reach out to people that could give us updates on the Rivers State so far, local government poll going on, and would bring you subsequent updates. But yes, this is the much that we can take on newspaper review segment. We will take a break, and when we come back, the show continue. Make sure you stay glued.